tried to break my arm when I was trying to get back inside. She's currently got me locked in the garage because earlier she broke both of the big doors, and then when I came out here to fix it after getting in the house earlier, she locked the door behind me. And then when I tried to...
What was that?
You just shot me!
I got the shooting with somebody Jake's driving. She just shot him. I just heard 4 shots. Sir, are you there?
September 8th, 2021, Gulf Breeze, Florida. Just after 6:20 in the evening, a man named Colin Turner picked up his phone and called 911 for the 3rd time that day. By then, deputies already knew the address. They had been to the house twice in the last few hours because of arguments between Colin and his wife, Bree Kristen Kuhn. Each time, officers left without making an arrest. There were no visible injuries, no clear evidence of violence, and no legal reason to take either of them into custody. But this 3rd call felt different almost immediately. He said she had already tried to hurt his arm while he was trying to get back inside, and now he was stuck in the garage with no way out while their children were still inside the home. As he continued explaining what was happening, the dispatcher suddenly heard a loud sound interrupt the call. Then Colin said something that changed the entire case. "She just shot me." A few seconds later, more shots rang out through the phone line. Then everything went quiet. The dispatcher kept calling out to him, but there was no response anymore. Officers were rushed to the house immediately, and while they were driving there, the reality of what they had just heard started setting in. This was no longer another domestic disturbance call. They may have just listened to a man die in real time. When deputies reached the house 4 minutes later, Colin Turner was dead in the garage. His wife, Navy Chief Bree Kristen Kuhn, was waiting outside. But by then, the fight inside that house had already crossed too many lines. And by the time detectives took her into the interrogation room, the story she gave them would be very different from what the 911 call had already recorded. The dispatcher answered the call the same way she had answered thousands of others before it, but within seconds, it became clear this one was different. On the other end of the line was 34-year-old Colin Turner, and he sounded tired more than anything else, like someone who had spent the entire day arguing, explaining himself, and calling for help without anything actually changing. He told dispatchers that deputies had already been to the house twice that day because of problems between him and his wife, Bree Kristen Kuhn. Earlier, officers had managed to calm things down enough for him to get back into the house, but according to Colin, the situation immediately escalated again. He said Bree locked him inside the garage and would not let him back into the house, and while he was trying to get back through the door, she had tried to hurt his arm. As he spoke, the dispatcher tried to piece together exactly what was happening inside the home on Jenks Drive. Then, in the middle of Colin's sentence, everything changed. A loud sound suddenly interrupted the call. For a split second, neither the dispatcher nor Colin reacted clearly, almost like both of them were trying to process what had just happened. Then Colin said the words that would later become the center of the entire case. "She just shot me." Then more shots rang out through the phone, one, then another, and then another. The dispatcher immediately started calling out to him again, asking if he could still hear her, asking if he was still there, but there was no response anymore. Whatever had just happened inside that garage had happened fast, and the operator knew it.
Emergency?
Hi, you guys have been out to my house twice today, and then most recently the deputy talked my wife into letting me in the house, and then she locked me in the garage and tried to break my arm when I was trying to get back inside. She's currently got me locked in the garage because earlier she broke both of the big doors, and then when I came out here to fix it after getting in the house earlier, she locked the door behind me. And then when I tried to...
What was that?
You just shot me!
I got the shooting with somebody Jake's driving. She just shot him. I just heard 4 shots. Sir, are you there? Sir, are you there? He's not...
Officers were dispatched immediately, and the situation was upgraded within seconds because everyone listening to that call understood the same thing at the same time. A man who had called 911 for help may have just been killed while still on the line. Deputies raced toward the house in Gulf Breeze while dispatch relayed updates over the radio. When deputies arrived roughly 4 minutes later, they moved quickly through the property, trying to figure out where the shots had come from. The garage door was closed, and officers had difficulty getting inside, so they ended up forcing their way into the garage area to reach Colin.
Open the door. I'll be the garage.
Right in the garage door. Anybody else in there? Can we open this?
Inside, they found him on the floor. He had been hit multiple times, and there was nothing deputies could do for him anymore.
In blood.
I don't know who he is, but he's in the garage. 3 in the chest, or looks like 3 in the chest. Might be 2. They said they heard 4 guns.
While officers secured the garage and began treating the home like a homicide scene, another deputy searched the kitchen area and located a firearm near a toaster.
It looks like it's in the holster.
Yeah.
But it's stuck behind the toaster.
Stuck behind a toaster.
Investigators would later believe this was the weapon used during the shooting. At the same time, deputies started trying to locate the children who had been inside the home during the argument. They found them across the street at a neighbor's house.
I had tried to kill myself a couple months ago that no judge in the world would give me custody of children. He threw me on the ground and said nobody would believe me because I was a crazy bitch.
But the police knew all this already. What they wanted to know was what had happened next.
So what happened after the law enforcement left the second time?
I don't remember. He was in the garage again, and I locked him out.
The 2 younger children did not appear to fully understand what had happened yet, but the oldest child was visibly upset and crying. And while all of this was happening, Bree Kuhn was outside. The officers who encountered her later described her as being in shock. Her emotions seemed to shift from one moment to the next. At times, she sounded confused, then emotional, then almost detached from what had just happened. She asked deputies if Colin was alive, and when officers tried to calm her down, she started speaking in fragments, almost like she was trying to process the reality of what she had done while standing there in real time.
Hold on. This is Deputy Lowe. Come here, sweetheart. It's okay. Well, do me a favor. Can you, if they're working on it right now,
Okay.
I need you to go with this deputy, have her see if your car, she's going to hang out with you.
Take her. I'll get an EMS to come check her out. She's the shooter. Where's your kids at?
Right, that's my oldest right there.
Okay.
She's 12. Her dad's name is Runner. He's in the DEA. I called him.
Okay. All right, have a seat. Have a seat.
Yes.
I don't know yet, man. I just got here.
At one point, she said, "I'm a murderer." Then, moments later, she told deputies, "You should arrest me."
No, I'm fine. That's my kids. My husband.
Our kids in the house?
No, they're with the neighbor. He's dead. I saw him and I tried to help, but he was dead.
Well, let's not talk about that right now, okay?
My kids don't have a dad or a mom now. And it's my fault. Right?
Alright. So right now, we're just gonna do this for right now, okay?
For your safety, for ours, okay?
I'm a murderer.
Listen to me. You're not under arrest right now. You're being behind.
No, you should arrest me. I killed my husband.
But almost immediately after that, she seemed to swing back into disbelief.
Got him. Maybe he's not dead. He should not be dead. How come they're not going to get him? The ambulance.
So, deputies detained her near the house while investigators started locking down the scene, separating witnesses, and trying to reconstruct the final minutes before the shooting. Because by that point, they already knew one thing for certain. The last moments of Colin Turner's life had been captured on a recorded 911 call. And for deputies standing there that evening, one question immediately took over the entire investigation. What happened inside that house before the shooting started? To neighbors and people outside the home, Bree Kristen Kuhn and Colin James Turner looked like the kind of couple that had already built a stable life together. They lived in Gulf Breeze, Florida, in a quiet suburban neighborhood near Pensacola, and from the outside, there was nothing about the family that suggested police would eventually be standing in their garage investigating a killing. Bree had built a serious military career for herself. She was born in May of 1987, graduated from East Mississippi Community College in 2012, and then joined the United States Navy. Over the years, she worked her way into a respected leadership position at Naval Air Station Pensacola, eventually serving as a chief petty officer. By 2021, she was the primary income earner inside the home, and according to people who knew the family, much of the financial stability of the household rested on her military career. Colin Turner had also spent most of his adult life in the military. He was originally from Georgia and served in the United States Marine Corps for around 14 years, eventually reaching the rank of gunnery sergeant. But unlike Bree, his military career did not continue upward. According to reports and testimony later presented in court, Colin suffered a traumatic brain injury that eventually led to a medical discharge from the Marines. After leaving the military, their roles inside the marriage slowly changed. Bree remained active duty and continued advancing in the Navy, while Colin became more focused on the home and the children. He took on the role of stay-at-home father, and while caring for the kids, he also tried building a second future for himself through education. He studied electrical engineering online and had even been accepted into a master's program at Johns Hopkins University that was supposed to begin in January of 2022, but that future never came. Together, Bree and Colin built a blended family. They shared 2 young children together, and Bree also had an older daughter from a previous relationship. But by the time police showed up at the house on September 8th, the marriage had already been collapsing for a while, and some of the signs had been sitting in plain sight. Friends, family members, investigators, and later jurors would all start looking backward through the couple's final months together, trying to understand how the relationship had deteriorated so badly. What they found was not one sudden explosion, but a growing pattern of resentment, emotional distance, custody fears, and constant conflict that seemed to revolve around the children. At some point, divorce stopped being a possibility and started becoming inevitable. Bree had reportedly started searching online for divorce attorneys, and one post connected to her described the split as likely becoming an ugly contested one involving both children and property. That line would later stand out to investigators because it showed how serious and hostile the separation discussions had already become before the shooting ever happened. Colin, meanwhile, seemed to be dealing with the tension in a completely different way. In one social media post, he tagged Bree in a meme, joking that archaeologists were mostly women because of their natural ability to dig up the past. On its own, the joke sounded harmless. But after everything that happened, people started viewing small moments like that differently, almost like tiny glimpses into the kind of arguments that had become normal inside the house. And the biggest source of tension appeared to be the children. According to statements later gathered by investigators, Colin wanted to leave Florida temporarily and take the younger children to his parents' home in Georgia. He reportedly described it as needing space and wanting everyone to calm down. But Bree did not see it that way. From her perspective, he was trying to take the children away from her during the middle of a collapsing marriage, and that fear started becoming central to almost every argument they had. At the same time, the relationship itself seemed to be growing colder and more hostile. There were accusations involving emotional control over finances, damaged property, and manipulation involving the children. Both of them believed the other person was becoming dangerous in different ways, and by September of 2021, even ordinary disagreements inside the home no longer stayed ordinary for very long. And by lunchtime on September 8th, the arguments inside the Turner home had escalated to the point where somebody finally called 911. The first call came in at 12:53 that afternoon, and this time it was Bree Kristen Kuhn on the line.
Sheriff's office, emergency. Hi, can I have a police officer come to the address? 6184 Okay. What's going on? My husband pushed me up against the wall and threw me on the floor. Okay. Does anyone have any weapons?
Yeah, there's guns in the house.
And what's your first and last name?
Bree Coon. I don't want him to take my daughter.
Okay, give me one moment so I can have my deputies on.
She told them her husband had pushed her against a wall and thrown her onto the floor during an argument. Deputies were sent to the house on Jenks Drive, and when they arrived, the scene did not look like what most people would expect after a violent domestic assault call. Before officers even reached the front door, Colin Turner was already outside waiting for them.
We talk to you guys separate. His daughter, if I go inside, when we go inside and talk to you.
She's got a shotgun and her pistol in the bedroom with her.
Okay.
And my pistol is on the dashboard of my truck. I'll put it there all pretty for you.
Okay, you stay out here, man.
I'm filming.
Her name's Bree.
Her name's Bree. She's got both the kids in there with her.
Alright. Do me a favor and lift your shirt up a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
So why don't you give me a rundown on what happened during your argument?
Alright, so she called you right now because she figured out that I want to take my kids to my parents' house in Georgia. More for me, I guess, me to have a break from her. A little bit of backstory. In March, she tried to after she was inpatient, then she was outpatient group for a while. She got kicked out of that group. So she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder in March or April. Got kicked out of her first therapy group, got kicked out of her second therapy group, and she skipped her last two individual therapies.
Okay. So what happened today causing her?
And it was at this point that he told the officers his plan to travel down to Georgia because of her mental health, fearing for the kids' safety.
Pick the phone up and call. I guess she called 911. I didn't look.
She found out I was like I was packing my car.
That's what the upset was.
Yes.
That you're going to Georgia to see their grandparents.
Yep.
And then she's like, was she allowed to go? Like, did you plan on her coming?
No, I didn't plan on her coming.
Okay, you're just gonna do it. Take a break.
Yeah.
And they're your kids, right?
They're my kids.
Okay, y'all are married, had kids.
Married.
They're your blood.
They're both of our kids, and then I have a stepdaughter who's probably gonna be here about 45 minutes from school.
Okay.
And my stepdaughter is fully hers legally, and she told me before if Kylie's my 12-year-old, she said if you take I can't stop you from taking the little kids because they're yours, but if you take my 12-year-old, I have press charges.
But that wasn't all. She had destroyed her gadgets and took away the credit cards she gave him.
My laptop was missing. Been all around the house for it. Finally, like, wait a minute, the dishwasher was running all night with my fucking MacBook in the dishwasher. It's a $2,500 computer. So it was the start, well, I guess, culmination of a long bad path.
Okay.
And cut me off from all the credit cards she has control over. She's the primary breadwinner in the family.
Then Colin told officers he had not attacked Bree and insisted the real problem was that he was trying to create distance between them before the situation got worse.
It's not healthy for the kids to be around it. She's made repeated comments to the kids, the 3 and 4-year-old, since, well, today. When police are coming to save us because Daddy hurt Mommy. First of all, I didn't. Second of all, you don't tell a child that.
Sure. Was at any point in time, did it get physical?
I told you I tried to grab my daughter last night, and she got physical and stopped me. So I backed the fuck off at that point. That kind of allegation is the last thing I need.
The deputies listened carefully, but they had a problem. There were no visible injuries or marks on Bree, and there were no witnesses who had actually seen physical violence happen. And because of that, officers found themselves trapped in the same legal gray area that police encounter in so many domestic calls. They believed the couple was in serious conflict, but belief was not enough to make an arrest.
It's going to be the first who crosses the line, you know?
It sucks, man.
Yeah. Well, we can't be getting too far into people's lives. I mean, if a crime occurred, yeah, good to go.
But what? A crime
occurred. So if she slapped across the face and you got claw marks and a red handprint on your cheek, that's different. You say, yeah, she slapped me. I believe you. I see the handprint.
I almost wish.
One deputy even gave an example, explaining that if someone had visible claw marks or a red handprint across their face, police could immediately act on it. And after hearing that, Colin made a comment that barely registered at the time. I almost wish, at that moment it sounded like the exhausted reaction of someone caught in a collapsing marriage who felt nobody could help him until things became even worse. Hours later, that sentence would feel horrifyingly prophetic. A little after 5 o'clock that evening, the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office received another 911 call from the same house. But this time, the caller was not Bree. It was Colin Turner.
My wife has locked all the doors and said I'm not allowed to come in. So I'm outside with my daughter screaming that she wants to go inside and I can't.
Okay, what's your...
Yeah, y'all have already been out here once today.
Yeah, and you said that now your wife is not allowing you to come outside?
Come inside, yeah.
Come inside the home?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't there like another child's home as well?
Yeah,
Right?
my 4-year-old's inside. She said he's napping, and my 12-year-old stepdaughter is inside.
Only a few hours earlier, Bree had been the one asking deputies for help and accusing her husband of becoming physical with her. Now the situation had flipped completely, and Colin sounded increasingly frustrated as he explained that he had been locked out of the house for hours while his children remained inside. So, deputies returned to the house again. Colin met officers outside and immediately started explaining how the situation had escalated after deputies left earlier that afternoon.
Hello. Yes, sir, indeed. What can I do for you? I'm Deputy Lynn with the North County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, my wife won't let me in my house.
Okay, is this wife?
Yep.
Okay, can I talk to you over here?
Can
Ma'am?
I have my daughter, please?
Hey, can I just have you wait right there for just one moment, okay? So what's going on today, sir?
She's got mental health stuff going on. I was trying to leave for Georgia to get a break from her for me and the kids earlier today. And then she called you guys. Took my photo ID, all my access to money and everything.
Okay.
And then took the kids inside and locked me out. I've been locked outside in my driveway.
Okay.
For the last couple hours.
You live here?
Yeah, we're co-owners. We both.
Okay.
So I've been on the phone with family advocacy through the Navy and all that most of the day. So I haven't cared that I'm outside.
Okay.
Until she came outside with my daughter on the porch.
Okay.
Screaming. So I came over and she gave my daughter to me, and that's kind of like the last straw.
You guys,
so
are you guys still married?
I mean, for now, yeah.
It's still legal and it's common property.
Yep. Yeah. So she's not allowed to stop me from entering my house.
If it's your house and you still live here, by all means, you got to enter your home. However, you got to enter your home.
Yeah. So she's allowed to change the locks, and I'm allowed to break a window. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not telling you to break a window. If you want to tear, I mean, it's your property. However, you got to get into your house. You got to get into your house. If it's your home and you live here and you've got your items in there, if you got to get in, however you got to get in.
You can't like escort me in, and let me in.
Well, I'm going to talk to her in just a second. But we'll figure out what's going on. But at any point with this argument, was it physical? Was it anybody hit, scratch, kick, bite, push, anything like that? Poke, anything even?
Then deputies walked over to speak with Bree again. And once again, her version of events sounded completely different.
And so he's wanting to take him to Georgia?
Yeah, I was talking to him about wanting a divorce, so he said that he's going to take the kids to Georgia. And he can because we're still married.
Okay.
Got into an argument about it. He pushed me up against the wall. He threw me onto the floor in the bathroom. And that's when I called the police earlier today.
Okay.
Then I locked him out.
Okay.
Well, he had been in contact with my command.
Okay.
So he said that there's allegations of emotional.
Okay.
So obviously I don't want him in there.
Okay.
Him and I arguing in front of the kids. So I locked him out. My daughter, she wakes up sometimes, like in oval from naps or whatever.
Sure.
And it's usually like him and I will pass her back and forth. It's kind of, she's fickle. She wants better. So she woke up from the nap. And
when you say your daughter, you mean that one?
Yeah. Yeah, when she woke up like that, I brought her out here because she's used to him and I, so I brought her out here.
Okay.
So he can help calm her down. He snatched her from me and then started trying to use her to, I don't know.
Okay.
He said, she doesn't want to come in the house. I'm like, Daddy's there.
Okay.
Being manipulative.
Okay.
It's not a good environment.
It's his house too, right? And he lives here too? So we can't lock each other out of the house. I mean, if we do, he's got every right to enter the house however he's got to enter the house.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And same thing, if we change the locks, he's got every right to get in the house however he's got to get in the house, okay? If he lives here, he's got property here. For the betterment of your daughter, whatever you guys got going on, you got to put aside for the kids. You see what I'm saying?
I agree, but he told me not to talk to him. So I'm not going to let him in the house, but he's going to come in and start arguing.
But at the same time, that's leaving the child. I mean, that's kind of leaving the child out here fend for herself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't want him to do that.
Okay. But, I mean, I can't stop him from going inside the house.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted him to use me. so that she's not out here.
Okay.
They said earlier that since I didn't have any bruises, and
Okay.
there was nobody to witness
Right.
him getting physical with me.
Okay.
They could.
Bree told officers she wanted a divorce and claimed the relationship had become emotionally. She said Colin had physically hurt her earlier in the day and insisted she did not want him inside the house because every interaction between them turned into another argument in front of the children. And while deputies listened to both sides yet again, the same problem from earlier in the day remained. One deputy warned them directly that if the situation turned physical and officers found evidence of violence, somebody would be going to jail. Deputies left the house for the second time that day, believing the situation had finally calmed down. But later deputies drove away from the house for the second time that day. The situation inside the Turner home did not calm down the way officers had hoped it would. Investigators later learned that Colin had already started reaching out to people outside the home because he believed the situation with Bree was out of control. One of the people he contacted that afternoon was Hardy Joyner, Bree's former partner and the father of her oldest daughter. Those text messages would later become some of the most important evidence in the entire case because they captured Colin's thoughts in real time only hours before he died. Around the time of the first police response, Colin messaged Hardy and wrote, "Bree is losing it."
Hey man, Bree's losing it. She ran my laptop through the dishwasher last night because I turned the Wi-Fi off. I'm planning on getting out of here with the little kids, but she's already told me she'll press charges if I take Kylie with me. I don't know what you can do legally, but I wanted to give you a heads up.
The messages painted a picture of a man trying to leave a collapsing situation while also realizing how complicated the custody issues had become. Hardy responded sympathetically, and the conversation between the two men continued throughout the afternoon while police kept returning to the house. Then another message came through.
Be worse before it gets better too. She's always told her stories about you, and I thought you sucked, but now that I think about it, she's crazy as hell and probably did the same stuff to you.
Then, sometime after 6:20 p.m., Colin found himself locked inside the garage again. Only this time, instead of trying to argue anymore, he picked up his phone, and at 6:22 p.m., Colin Turner called 911 for the third time that day. Eventually, investigators transported her to the sheriff's office for a formal interview.
I talked to a lot of people tonight. Okay. I feel like your voice is the most important. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of explain.
He pushed me up against the doorway. He threw me on the ground and said nobody would believe me because I was a crazy bitch. I told him that I wanted a divorce. And so he was just trying to take the kids. He was in the garage again and I locked him out. He tried coming in, so I blocked the door and he kicked my foot and was trying to push to go to the door. And I was trying to keep him out. I shot him. He was still coming towards me. I don't think I shut the door.
The physical shooting itself was not in dispute anymore. The question was whether Bree believed she was protecting herself or whether she made a conscious decision to kill her husband. At first, Bree returned to the same allegations she had made throughout the day. She claimed Colin had attacked her.
Shoot him.
I didn't mean to shoot him. He said something and just the look on his face.
What was the look on his face?
He was gonna kill me.
Where did you get the gun? When you said you came to the door, did you already have the gun in your hands? Why did you have the gun when you went to the garage door?
I just wanted them to go. Why didn't they arrest him when I called the police? Why didn't they arrest him? I didn't want him dead.
I wasn't out there.
The detective explained something else very carefully. At no point on the call did investigators hear Colin threatening her. At no point did they hear sounds suggesting a fight inside the garage before the shots. And at no point did the evidence suggest Colin was armed with anything other than his phone. For the first time during the interview, Bree seemed to realize just how much evidence investigators already had. Then finally, she shut the interview down completely. "I don't want to talk anymore."
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I have to talk to my dad.
We'll get you a phone book. It's real important for us to understand your perception of what was going on with your husband.
I don't want to answer any more questions. I have to talk to my dad.
Before we let you call your dad, can we give you just a little bit of information so you understand how important it is that we get your statement? Bree, he was on the phone with 911 when this happened. Okay, so we have an audio recording of when this happened and what was going on. Okay.
The only thing that we have on that recording is your husband talking to our dispatch saying that you locked him in the garage. Your husband is calm. Okay. And then the second later, the door opens, one shot goes off. He tells our dispatch, she just shot me. About 5 more seconds go by and 3 more shots go off. Okay, that is very important information, but we can only see so much of it.
It was me.
What was you?
I shot him. I told you.
What was he doing? You said he made you do
Coming
this.
towards me. No. I didn't say that, and I don't want to answer any more questions. I want to talk to my dad. I need a lawyer.
Detectives stopped questioning her after that, but before the interview officially ended, they allowed her to make a phone call to her father. And that conversation became one of the most emotionally revealing moments in the entire investigation.
Hello?
Daddy.
Hey. Where are you?
I'm in an office. Daddy.
You're at the police?
Yeah.
You're at the police station?
Yeah. I killed Colin.
I know you did. I know you did. I'm just trying to figure out why. Threatening you or...
Even to her. And for the first time, Bree did not confidently repeat the self-defense narrative she had been trying to explain to investigators.
I really killed my best friend.
You did.
My husband, father of my kids. I just fucked up everybody. I killed him and fucked up everybody else's life.
And from that moment forward, the case stopped being about who fired the gun. It became about why. Then, on October 5th, 2021, a Santa Rosa County grand jury officially indicted her for premeditated first-degree murder. For years, the case slowly moved through the court system while Bree remained in custody awaiting trial. By the time the trial finally began in September of 2024, more than 3 years had passed since the shooting inside the garage on Jenks Drive. And by then, both sides had developed very different versions of what happened during Colin Turner's final moments. The prosecution's position was straightforward. They argued that Bree trapped Colin inside the garage, approached him while he was still on the phone with 911, and then fired multiple shots into his back during an argument centered around divorce and custody fears. But the defense tried presenting a very different picture. Bree's attorneys prepared to argue that she had been emotionally and physically inside the marriage and feared for her safety during the final confrontation. At one point, the defense formally filed notice that they intended to rely on battered spouse syndrome as part of their strategy, and there were also plans to introduce testimony involving PTSD and Bree's mental health history. But once testimony started, the prosecution began attacking those claims piece by piece. One of the most important witnesses during the trial was the medical examiner, Dr. Deanna Oleske. Her testimony focused heavily on the physical evidence from Colin's autopsy, particularly the location of the wounds. She explained to jurors that Colin suffered 4 gunshot wounds, and according to her findings, all 4 entered through his back before exiting through the front of his body. That directly challenged the image of an immediate face-to-face attack requiring self-defense. Prosecutors argued the physical evidence did not support the idea that Bree fired while being cornered by an advancing attacker. Then prosecutors brought in Hardy Joyner. According to his testimony, Bree told him directly, "I just shot Colin."
Do I need to come get my daughter? And she said, I just shot Colin. And I responded, I said, why? And she said, I don't know.
Then the defense called Bree's brother, Eric.
What exactly did you hear in terms of a physical altercation? Can you describe it? I heard things banging. I heard my nieces and nephews crying and yelling. I heard my sister saying she was being hit. I heard Colin yelling, and I heard, I wouldn't know how to describe it, things hitting the ground or things being hit, like bumped or something, like slams.
So things are being hit, and she's telling you Colin is hitting her, is that correct? You don't know what's going on. Obviously, you can't see what's going on, can you? Did Bree ever mention a gun to you?
I believe right at the end she said she was getting a gun to protect the kids, and I said, just leave. And I said he wouldn't hurt them. She said he would kill them, and that is when the call ended, when she shot him.
But prosecutors quickly focused on a major problem with Eric's testimony.
Testimony in the eyes of the jury, and Bree's fate was sealed. After 4 hours of deliberation, Bree Kuhn was found guilty of first-degree murder. They found that it had been a conscious decision to kill her husband, not self-defense. She'd shot him in the back because he was threatening to take her kids away. This was murder. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole, the legal mandatory minimum for this charge. Her daughter now lives with Bree's ex, the daughter's father, and Colin and Bree's kids can...
During earlier interviews with investigators, Eric had never mentioned Bree talking about getting a gun. That inconsistency immediately weakened the reliability of his account, and prosecutors pushed hard on the fact that critical details seemed to appear later, after the defense strategy became focused on self-defense and battered spouse syndrome. Then came one of the biggest turning points in the entire trial. For a while, it appeared Bree herself was going to testify. The defense even prepared for it publicly in court, and because their psychological expert testimony depended heavily on Bree personally explaining her experiences and state of mind, her testimony became extremely important to the defense strategy. But after lengthy discussions with her attorneys during trial, Bree suddenly changed her mind. She decided not to testify. That decision changed the direction of the case almost immediately. Without Bree taking the stand, the defense could no longer fully present parts of the battered spouse syndrome strategy the way they originally intended.
We have victim impact statements that are taking place right now. They've gone right into sentencing. Let's get you in there.
Ma'am, would you please state your name for the record?
Teray Turner.
And how are you related to Colin?
He's my son.
And you had prepared a statement that you wish to read to the judge, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Your Honor, this is a letter I never imagined having to write. When I think of the impact the loss of Colin has made on my life, it is difficult to put into words. The grief can wash over at any time. Of course, there are the expected times of grief, such as Mother's Day, his birthday, or the anniversary of his death. There are also unexpected times, like a mother-son dance at a wedding, or when asked how many children I have. There is still a sense of unreality. I can't believe this has happened. I've watched my husband suffer as he misses his son. He is so proud to tell people that Colin was in his last semester of school for his degree in electrical engineering, following in Don's footsteps, and had been accepted into Johns Hopkins for his master's. Colin earned this degree online while being a stay-at-home dad following his retirement from the Marines. Our daughters have had the shock of unexpectedly losing their brother, and as a mother, their pain is my pain. But the greatest impact has been watching how this loss has impacted Colin's younger children, John, JP, and Lainey. We have custody of them and expect to raise them for the rest of our lives. It's been 3 years, and they're still fearful that we will die and leave them once again without parents. They worry that if we bicker, one of us may kill the other. They still ask if we have guns in the house, though they know the answer is no. No matter how many times we remind them that killing a loved one is very rare, their reality tells them differently. We talk about their dad often, but they'll never really know him as they were so young when he was killed, only 3 and 4 years old. And now, not only has Bree Kuhn killed our son, brother, father, but she's done her best to destroy his reputation. I know Colin was not a perfect man. There is no such thing, but he was not the evil man she described. He was a man who loved his wife and tried his hardest to make things work. He loved his children, retiring from the Marines early so he wouldn't miss any part of their young lives, and now he's not there for them at all due to Bree's actions. We believe Bree would do anything to get her way. She killed our son because he wanted custody of the children, and I believe she would kill again. Our hope is that Bree will receive a life sentence without parole. We plan to adopt JP and Lainey and give them the security to know they don't need to worry about changing families again. Our faith has carried us along this journey, and we know the Lord will continue to carry us. He is willing that all should repent and be saved from their sins, including Bree.
Then the case went to the jury. It took them only a little more than 4 hours to reach a verdict. On September 27th, 2024, Bree Kristen Kuhn was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder.
My understanding is you have reached a verdict. Is that correct? Okay, if you'll hand the verdict form to court security. Madam Clerk, if you will publish the verdict.
State of Florida v. Bree Kristen Kuhn, case number 21CF1301. Verdict. We, the jury, finds as follows as to the offense charged in the indictment. Guilty of first-degree premeditated murder as charged. So say we all, this 27th day of September 2024. Juror number 109, AD, 4-person.
Do any of the attorneys wish the jurors to be polled?
Nothing to say, Judge.
Immediately afterward, the court moved into sentencing, and she received a mandatory sentence of life in prison. Later, Bree appealed the conviction, but in April of 2026, Florida's First District Court of Appeal affirmed the verdict, leaving the conviction and life sentence in place. And by then, the future both Bree and Colin once planned together had completely disappeared. Colin Turner never made it to Johns Hopkins University. Bree Kuhn lost her Navy career, her freedom, and the life she had spent years building. And the 3 children at the center of the arguments that day were left growing up without either parent beside them. By the end of September 8th, 2021, one parent was dead, the other was heading toward prison for life, and 3 children were left to grow up with the sound of that final 911 call hanging over everything that came after. And that's where this case comes to a close. What do you think about everything that happened? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story stayed with you, there are more cases on the channel that explore situations just as disturbing. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share the video. It helps keep stories like this from fading away. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.